I want to open up with 2nd Ezra chapter 14. We're going to start at verse 1.
2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 1. And it came to pass upon the 3rd day, I sat under an oak, and behold, there came a voice out of a bush over against me, and said, Esdras, Esdras. And I said, Here I am, I, Lord. And I stood up upon my feet. Then said he unto me in the bush, I did manifestly reveal myself unto Moses, and talked with him when my people served in Egypt.
And this, brothers, let me ask you, who was this that spoke to Moses in the bush? Who's that?
Brother Isaiah.
Isaiah?
Yes.
Okay.
It's in 1 Corinthians 10, 1 down, I think.
Okay, let's read that. 1 Corinthians 10. Read 1 to 3, I think. Very good.
Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ.
Now that's good. I like that. That's good. But I want the one in Acts. Give me the one in Acts. Acts 7. And verse 35. So it was Christ during that time, but watch what Acts says.
Acts 7, verse 35. This Moses whom they refused, saying, Who made thee a ruler and a judge? The same did God send to be a ruler and a deliverer, but by the hand of the angel which appeared to him in the bush.
Y'all see that? So the angel that was in the bush was Christ. The word angel just means messenger. That's what it means. The messenger that was in the bush was Christ. So now, go back to 2nd Ezra, please. Chapter 14 and verse 3, I think you're in.
2nd Ezra, chapter 14 and verse 3. Then said he unto me, In the bush I did manifestly reveal myself unto Moses, and talked with him when my people served in Egypt. And I sent him, and led my people out of Egypt, and brought him up to the Mount of Sinai, where I held him by me a long season.
Stop. Brothers, raise your hand if you know the answer. What is the long season? Let me hear this brother right here with his hand up. Yeah, you. Put your hand back up. Yeah, you. Yep.
Brother Moses.
Brother Moses.
40 days and 40 nights.
Right, 40 days and 40 nights. Very good. Read on, Captain Isaac.
Verse 5. And told him many wondrous things, and showed him the secrets of the times and the end.
He showed Moses the secrets of the times and the end. Go ahead.
And commanded him, saying, These words shalt thou declare, and these shalt thou hide.
So these words, some words were declared clearly, and others was written in parables. That's what it means. Go ahead.
And now I say unto thee, that thou lay up in thy heart the signs that I have showed, and the dreams that thou hast seen, and the interpretations which thou hast heard. For thou shalt be taken away from all. And
now I want y'all to see this, that thou lay up in thy heart the signs that I have showed and the dreams that thou hast seen. I want y'all to understand that. So when God gave Moses the understanding from Genesis, remember Moses wrote the first 5 books. He wasn't just telling Moses, and then Adam was created, and then Eve was made. He showed Moses. He didn't just talk it to him. He showed it to him. What's more proof of that? Give me that scripture in Matthew. You know what I want? The Transfiguration.
Matthew 17, verse 5. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. And behold, a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved son.
No. Read above it when they saw who he was talking to.
Verse 1. And after 6 days Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into an high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him.
Now, did Peter, James, and John ever meet Moses and Elijah? So how did they know that was them? the Lord has showed him in the. You ever have a dream, and you know who the people are, for some reason. You can identify people in your dreams many times. So the Lord was showing Peter, James, and John, Moses, and Elijah talking to Christ. Showed it to them. So go back to Ezra. That's all I wanted. They caught it. Who doesn't understand what I'm saying? Raise your hand. Okay. You don't get it? Who don't get it? He showed them. He says, so in their minds, the Lord said, this is Moses, this is Elijah.
Like the bishop said, did the brothers meet Moses and Elijah? No. So how would he know that was them? The Most High told him that's who it was. That's what he's saying there.
Exactly. So when we go back to 2 Ezra 14.
2 Ezra 14, verse 8. That thou lay up in thy heart.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That thou lay up in thy heart the signs that I have showed, and the dreams that thou hast seen, and the interpretations which thou hast heard.
So when we get to the wilderness, what's what I want all of y'all to understand? Christ he ain't just going to talk to us. He's going to show us. Everybody, well, I want to know what the missing books about, what happened there. Don't worry about it. You just make it to the wilderness. The Lord going to show us all. He's going to show us everything from the time of creation all over again. He ain't going to be talking. He's going to show us. Just saying the way Esau shows us things on their TV, the Most High is greater than that. He said, I'm going to show you the deliverance from Egypt. I'm going to show you what Samson did. And you're going to see the face and go, oh, that look like brother so-and-so. Yo, that might have been, that's you. We're going to see it. We're going to see all the forefathers, foremothers, and what they went through.
Y'all got to catch the deepness of what the bishop said when he went to Matthew 17. He first pointed out that the first 5 books was recorded. I'm going to put it that way. It was recorded by Moses. That means all of the information that we know in Genesis all the way up to Deuteronomy, the Most High gave him that on that long season. Think about how he had to show Moses about the birth of Esau, for instance, because we wouldn't know about that. Think about how he had to show him the flood, because we wouldn't know about that. All of the information about Jacob, Arphaxad, Peleg, all of Joktan, all them names that reading about the Tower of Babel, none of that stuff would be known to us. The Most High gave Moses that information to write that down. Think about how heavy that is.
Exactly. We don't.
Verse 9. For thou shalt be taken away from all, and from henceforth thou shalt remain with my son, and with such as be like thee, until the times be ended.
Now, I want you to go to Deuteronomy 34, I think.
Deuteronomy 34, verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, this is the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, saying, I will give it unto thy seed. I have caused thee to see it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not go over thither.
Go ahead.
So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord.
Anybody? Well, actually, that's not the one. I like that, but there's another one. Okay, Numbers 20, verse 12. Read that.
Numbers 20, verse 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, because ye believed me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel. Therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them.
That's what I wanted right there. Now, it's the same thing as Deuteronomy 34, but it tells you the reason why it is. How come Moses did not bug out and get angry? All that work Moses did, the Lord said, because you didn't sanctify me, you're not entering the land. It's not a hard question. One hand. 2, 3. And let me see who have not I heard from before. The brother with the purple on around his arm. Yeah. Him. Let me hear him. Yeah. Give me your name.
Shalom, Bridget.
Shalom.
Brother Adriel.
Brother what?
Adriel.
Adriel?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, it's because the Most High already showed him everything, so he knew that they was going to return there one day again.
Very good. Moses didn't bug out. He had already seen that he wasn't going to enter the land during the 40 days and 40 nights. He saw that he was going to die before they entered into. He saw it already. Right, and wrote it down. So I'm going to die over here. Then I'm going to be, during the time of Christ, I'm going to come down during the transfiguration and talk with him. Then I'm going to be resurrected in the last days. So Moses saw the rest, so he didn't bug out. We bug out. Lord, Moses did all that great work. Lord Jesus, why? Moses saw it all. He saw the second coming of Christ, all that. So Moses was good. So, give me Deuteronomy 33. Let's see some things Moses spoke about. Deuteronomy 33 and verse 13.
Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 13.
So, this is some of the things that Moses saw. Come on.
And of Joseph he said, blessed
Well,
of...
jump up above that. Jump up above that. It might be verse 1. Let me hear verse 1.
Deuteronomy 33 and verse 1. And this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of God, blessed the children of Israel before his death.
Right. So this is what Moses blessed Israel with before his death. This is based upon the things he saw. Jump down to verse 13.
Verse 13. And of Joseph he said.
Now, when it says Joseph here, remember, Joseph is the father of, let me raise your hand. Let me see who's thinking. Who knows?
Yeah, Ephraim and Manasseh.
Right. See that? Ephraim and Manasseh. And Manasseh. So, when we go back to Deuteronomy 33, verse 13, come on.
And of Joseph he said.
And of Joseph he said, making reference to Ephraim and Manasseh. Go ahead.
Blessed of the Lord be his land. For the precious things of heaven, for the dew and for the deep that coucheth beneath.
So I was letting you know that Ephraim and Manasseh will have a beautiful land in the last days. Go ahead.
And for the precious fruits brought forth by the sun, and for the precious things put forth by the moon.
I want you to write this part down. The precious things brought forth by the moon. We're going to touch on that a little later on, but just write that down as a side note. Read.
And for the chief things of the ancient mountains, and for the precious things of the lasting hills.
And for the chief things of the ancient mountains. We're going to touch on that a little later on, too. Go ahead.
Verse 16. And for the precious things of the earth and fullness thereof, and for the goodwill of him that dwelt in the bush.
Okay, here's the question. What does it mean? And for the goodwill of him that dwelt in the bush. Every hand should be up. Let me hear this brother here. Yeah. Yep.
Shalom, Brother Mashal.
Brother Mashal.
It means that it's talking about Christ.
Very good. It's talking about Christ. Thank you. If you had messed that thing up, oh boy. Go ahead.
And for the goodwill of him that dwelt in the bush, let the blessing come upon the head of Joseph, and upon the top of the head of him that was separated from his brethren.
Go ahead.
His glory is like the firstling of his bullock.
His glory is like the firstling of his bullock. Go ahead.
And his horns are like the horns of unicorns.
And when it says the horns of, it is not talking about the internet. It is not talking about the internet. It's saying that Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, are leaders together. That's what it's talking about. They were strong leaders together. Go ahead.
With them.
And here's the proof. With them, the two horns, with them, what will he do?
He shall push the people together to the ends of the earth.
That's the proof. It ain't talking about the internet. Ephraim and Manasseh would lead the bulk of Israel to the other side of the earth. So Moses saw that great migration when the 10 tribes came on this side of the world. Moses saw that. Go ahead.
And they are the 10,000.
Now he's telling you who the horns are. And they what?
Are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh.
Those are the two horns. It is not talking about the internet. Stop watching dumb, unlearned Israelites on YouTube. Give me Hosea chapter 9, verse 13. So Ephraim are the ones we call today Puerto Ricans. Manasseh, the ones we call today the Cubans. Come on.
Hosea 9:13. Ephraim, as I saw Tyrus, is planted in a pleasant place.
Ephraim, as I saw Tyrus, which is Tyre, is planted in a pleasant place, meaning a beautiful location. Was that it? Well, I want is 13.
But Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderer.
See that? But Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderers. Let me raise your hand. Who are the murderers that Ephraim brought their children to? 1, 2, 3. In the back, glasses. Oh, that's Yahweh Shaiba? Okay. You look different with the glasses on. I didn't recognize him. Who are the murderers?
It's talking about the Spaniards.
Right.
The Edomites.
Exactly. Now, well, let me ask you this. Let's say somebody wants to be clever and say, okay, well, during the writing of the book of Hosea, it's not talking about that.
This is a prophecy.
Okay, it's a prophecy, but did it occur any time else?
No.
Have a seat. Did it occur any other time? Y'all got to think. This is what I see with Israel. We all, in our mindset, we think the white man has been our only captivity, and that the Bible had no validation until this captivity now. That's not true. Remember, give me Deuteronomy 28:46, please. I want you brothers going to street teaching, you got to know this. You have to know this.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 46. And they shall be upon
Read the verse
thee.
above it, I'm sorry.
Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they,
meaning the curses,
shall
what?
Shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
Y'all see that? And upon thy seed forever. So the curses that we read about in the Bible shall be upon the Israelites forever until Christ returns. So I'm going to ask it one more time. Go back to Hosea 9:13 now. Read.
Hosea 9, verse 13. Ephraim, as I saw Tyrus, is planted in a pleasant place, but Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderer.
Okay, Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderer. Did that happen only during the time of the conquistadors? Because that's who the murderer we bring it up to today. One hand is up.
That happened to...
Who are you?
Masha.
Mashal?
Brother Masha.
Oh, Masha.
Yeah.
Okay, you know I got a short-term memory.
It happens during the Assyrian captivity as well. The Assyrian captivity.
Very good. During the Assyrian captivity as well. I want y'all to remember that. Captain Isaac, jump down to verse 17.
Verse 17. My good will cast them away. My God will cast them away, because they did not hearken unto him, and they shall be wanderers among the nations.
And they shall be wanderers among, it lets you know that Ephraim and the 10 tribes, there's remnants of them that are wanderers among the nation. Let me see who's thinking. What precept is that? What precept could you go to where it says they shall be wanderers among the nations?
John 7, verse 35.
That's good. I like that. But I want, stay right there. That's good. Give me one in Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy?
Yep.
I don't have one.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Deuteronomy.
Who are you?
Oh, sorry. Isaiah.
Isaiah. Y'all got to keep reminding me so I get the names in my head. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 32:26.
Deuteronomy 32:26. That's good. I like that one. But give me one in the curses. Now, those are good. What they're saying, those John 7:35, Deuteronomy 32:26, good. Right here.
Shalom, Brother Nathaniel. Deuteronomy 28:64.
Very good. Read that for me. Read it. You got it right there. Go ahead, read it.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth unto the other.
Right. Very good. And that goes with James 1:1. So, Isaac, read that again for us.
Hosea 10:17.
Hosea 9.
Hosea 9:17. My God will cast them away, because they did not hearken unto him, and they shall be wanderers among the nations.
Now, they shall be wanderers among the nations. So that goes into the diaspora of our people. Now, watch this. Watch this. Give me, before I jump, let me see if I wrote it down somewhere. give me the article about political scientists. Political science. Pay close attention. Okay. Isaac, can you see that? Can you read this for me?
Yes, sir.
University of Hawaii's news. Political scientist rebuts myth of Puerto Rican natives' extinction.
Because there was a myth for a short time that the Boricua Indians had been extinct, which is ridiculous. Wait, let me ask you a question. How do we know, listen, brothers, y'all on the street teaching, how do we know races have not been extinct on the earth? What scripture would y'all go to? Let me hear it. No, right next to you. Yeah, he had his hand up. Let me hear him.
Shalom, Brother Luke.
Baluch?
Luke.
Oh, Luke.
In Ecclesiastes, when it says there is no end to the people.
Very good. Fine. Where's that at? Ecclesiastes chapter 1, what verse? Oh, 4:16. Thank you. You know I'm getting old. Write that down, brothers. There's no end of all the people. So for them to say any race is extinct is a lie. So let's read the article. I want y'all to listen very good.
Tony Castanha grew up in Hawaii's eating Chinese food and aware of his mixed blood, which also includes Portuguese and English ancestors. He studied in Seattle, lived in Europe, and taught in Japan. Long active in the Hawaiian movement, he wrote his University of Hawaii's master's thesis on the effects of Hawaiian sovereignty on the non-native population. But it is the Jabaro blood. Hibaro. But it is the Hibaro blood of the Puerto Rican immigrants on his mother's side of the family that called to him. Aware of his cultural identity and prompted by curiosity about that island's experience with colonialism, the University of Hawaii at Manoa ethnic studies instructor turned his eyes to the Caribbean. The Hibaro or Boricua are the indigenous peoples, the Indians encountered by Columbus on the Borican, the native name for Puerto Rico. Subjected to colonialism, they were considered virtually extinct as a people by the mid-16th century, and the refrain has been made over and over. Castanha refutes that notion in his new book, The Myth of Indigenous Caribbean Extinction. Continuity and reclamation. Continuity and reclamation in Borican, Puerto Rico. Whole communities of Hibaro people survive today, he said. The myth of Boricua extinction results from history written through colonial eyes.
That's very important. The myth of Boricua extinction results from history written through colonial eyes, means written by the white man. Go ahead.
The myth of Boricua extinction results from history written through colonial eyes, he explained. Castanha used ethnographical data, turning to family histories gone underground and accounts gathered from artisans, academics, activists, cultural practitioners, elders, campesino farmers, curandores, healers, and espiritistas, shamans. The book, which draws on his research as a UH Manoa doctoral student in political science, documents 5 centuries of remarkable resistance and cultural continuity.
Now listen good to this paragraph.
I look at the cultural continuity of people in Puerto Rico, he said. People practice old traditions in agriculture, such as planting by the moon.
Stop. What is that? What verse is that? We read it today. Only one hand is up. All right, we got 3. Okay, let's go in the back. Let me hear somebody back there.
Hey, shalom, Bishop.
Shalom.
Soldier Aaron. Deuteronomy 33 and 14.
What did it say? What did it say, Aaron?
It's the prophecy on the moon.
What did it say?
And for the precious fruits brought forth by the sun, and for the precious things put forth by the moon.
Very good. That's what that's going into. Such as planting by the moon. I remember at the old school, I remember my shah used to always say, if you want something to grow, plant it when the moon comes out. He said when the full moon comes out, which is, as we know now, is the new moon. He used to always say, I didn't get it then, but now in my old age, I understand it. Captain Yash was upset at the way you're pronouncing Hibaro and the other Spanish words. So go back to that paragraph.
I look at the cultural continuity of people in Puerto Rico, he said. People practice old traditions in agriculture, such as planting by the moon, mixing different plants and planting in mounds, as well as spiritual practices and use of medicinal plants. Indian words persist in the names of places, foods, and plants, and Indian accents prevail in many Spanish words spoken. I've made many trips to Puerto Rico. I feel a strong cultural connection. I'm mesmerized. He said, I don't deny my other backgrounds. They just don't touch me like my Native American background.
Come on.
In Puerto Rico, as in Hawaii, there is a resurgence of native culture, he observed. The indigenous Jibaro provide the root culture in Borican.
Go ahead.
Puerto Ricans in Hawaii. The colonial experience of Puerto Rico and Hawaii isn't just an academic comparison. After the Great San Sirocco hurricane and famine, more than 5,000 Jibaro were brought to Hawaii as laborers for the sugar plantations via 11 voyages at the turn of the 20th century.
Stop. What scripture is that? What scripture is that? It said 5,000 Jibaro were brought to Hawaii as laborers. Another word for laborers is what, brothers? Slaves. What scripture is that? Come on. Yes, just pick somebody. Give me a mic.
Shalom, Brother Adam.
Brother Adam?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's Deuteronomy 28:68.
Very good. Deuteronomy 28:68 about the ships. What else? We just read it in Hosea. I want the one in Hosea.
Masha, he was giving to the murderers. His sons were giving to the murderers.
Something else that we read. They would, Jonah, let me hear you.
That's Hosea 9:17. They shall be wanderers among the nations.
Right. They shall be wanderers among the nations. That's what you have to understand. And what I want y'all to see, with those 5,000 Puerto Ricans that was taking it, y'all don't think they married with the people there and had kids? Like, what's that new singer? The little singer we thought was Hawaiian, but he's Puerto Rican?
Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars. Because a lot of times we be on the street, no, you're not Israel. You're not. We got to stop telling people they're not Israel. Let them say they're not Israel. Just teach the history, teach the Bible. That's why the Lord said, give me that one in Timothy. You know what I want? About endless genealogy. Give me that. Give me that. This is why we got to be careful. Yes, your pedigree is based upon your fathers, but let me tell you, teachers something. How many of you can go back 3 or 4 generations? Not a lot of you. Some of you don't know your fathers. But we're quick to tell others, you're not Israel. Be careful with that. The Most High will hold you to account for that. Read that. First about, don't give heed. 1 Timothy 5, there's one in Titus also. Come on, y'all.
1 Timothy's 1 and 4. Neither give heed to fables and endless genealogies, which minister questions rather than godly edifying.
Y'all see that? Endless genealogies minister questions. Well, then who's your father? And then what was his father? And then who's his father? We can only go, how far? I can go back just 3. That's as far as I could go. Don't ask me who was the 4th, the 5th, 6th. I don't know. So that's why that scripture's there for us. All right. Everybody understand that? I hope y'all understand that. So now, watch this. Give me Deuteronomy 28:64, which the brother read earlier. I just want to read it again.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people. So, like we just read and proved, 5,000 Puerto Ricans were sent to Hawaii as slaves. Now, when we went in Puerto Rico, Captain Zeph can bear witness, we went to a sugar plantation, okay? And they showed us how the Indians were slaves there prior to the blacks coming, okay? And they had certain, you want to speak on it, Captain Zeph?
It was a sugar plantation in Puerto Rico we went to, and they showed us that the indigenous people, the so-called Indians, which is the tribe of Ephraim, they were slaves before they brought the Africans over.
And they gave them all Spanish names. And then he was showing us a list of names. He said, if you notice, some of the slave names sound like Jewish names or English names. He said because some slave masters, they were not Spaniards. Some of them were of other Edomite nations and gave their slaves their names. So that's why you may see some Puerto Ricans who have German last names, Dutch last name, like
there's a famous
Arturo,
Schomburg,
that's his name. Schomburg, which is a German last name. Okay.
And there's a famous baseball player too. His name is Bernie Williams, and he's an Ephraimite.
Y'all see that? So that's why we have to know a little bit about history, and when we teach with understanding. Christ said, I came not to destroy men's lives, but to save them. Okay? So, from there, give me Hosea, Captain Isaac, Hosea chapter 8 and verse 14.
Hosea chapter 8, verse 14. For Israel hath forgotten his maker, and buildeth temples, and Judah hath multiplied fenced cities. But I will send a fire upon his cities, and it shall devour the palaces thereof.
So you see there where it says Israel hath built temples. Go, give me the next article. The pyramid, I'm sorry, hidden pyramid. Okay. So this is a temple. Okay. Hidden pyramid found in, I don't know how to pronounce it, Jayuya, Puerto Rico. Excuse me for my bad pronunciation. You know, Puerto Rico always make it seem like they're exclusive with Spanish. And all the other Spanish-speaking brothers be saying that the Puerto Ricans got the word Spanish. Be all broken Spanish, all jacked up. When y'all see the video, you got Captain Aparm and Captain Joshua teaching going, ¿cómo se dice? What's the word for car? Carro. Yeah, carro. You watch. And they be quick to try to correct somebody. Read that. Read this article. No, I want to read the words.
Reputable news source. A man found what seems to be an Aztec pyramid while he was looking for carambolas in the Jayuya jungle. According to him, the structure measured about 3 stories high, but it is estimated that half of the structure is still buried underground.
So half of the structure is still buried underground. Go ahead.
Archaeologist Chio Pagan commented that the find will rewrite the island's complete history.
Y'all see that? Archaeologist Chio Pagan commented that the find will rewrite the island's complete history. Because when you really look at the Taino Boricua history, it's very little. It just starts with slavery. And even when you compare their history with the Aztecs and the Mayans, you can see that they had history pre-Columbus. But with Puerto Rico, it's like they were nobody before Columbus. But with this find, it proves that they had a history prior to that, although we already knew that. Go ahead.
Right now, there is a dispute on who will take over the archaeological dig.
What white man's going to take it over? Go ahead.
Since hundreds of unemployed Puerto Rican archaeologists fight over the priceless find.
Now, we met an archaeologist, Rainiel Rodriguez.
Yes,
we did an interview with him. We're going to show you pictures on him. Go ahead.
The police had to be called to cordon off the area. No arrests have been made.
So you can't even go into this place yet. And Esau, they found some stuff in there. They're robbing whatever's been left behind. They're robbing it. That's what they do. Okay. Now,
Bishop.
Yes.
Also, when the sister Rose, when she saw the pyramid that she saw, she was just driving by and she just happened to turn back because she saw it from her peripheral. And she said there was gates, and the gate just happened to be open. But as soon as she did the video, someone kicked her out.
Yeah, you see that? Y'all see that? But you sisters be on point. Y'all just keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Now, the argument always is, well, if you're the Israelites, how come y'all don't still be building pyramids? Well, this is proof that we're the Israelites. We got pyramids. Give me that in 1 Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 27 and 28. We always build pyramids. That's what we do. And in order to build a pyramid, that structure that we just saw, you got to know mathematics, arithmetic, astronomy. You can't be a Hebrew. Y'all don't know what I mean. Anyway, you can't be a dummy. A mountain goat herder somewhere. You have to be smart and have an intellect. Okay? Come on.
1 Maccabees 13.
27 and 20.
Verse 27. Simon also built a monument upon the sepulchre of his father and his brethren, and raised it aloft to the site, with hewn stone behind and before. Moreover, he set up 7 pyramids.
So the Israelites, Simon, set up 7 pyramids. Go ahead.
One against another, for his father and his mother and his 4 brethren.
Was that it?
And in these he made cunning devices, about the which he set great pillars, and upon the pillars he made all their armor for perpetual memory.
You know what these cunning devices are? Like when y'all look at the movies, Indiana Jones and all that in the Temple of, I don't know if that's the right movie, but he goes into the pyramids and they got these traps and things in there when they walk. I don't know the movie's name. Y'all correct me, y'all movie buffs. But you go in, they got these devices set up that if you stand on this, the rock goes down and something comes out the wall and jacks you up. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah, thank you. Cunning devices, that's what Simon was creating in these pyramids. Cunning devices. And you know, Esau obviously destroyed them things to the ground. Give me Exodus chapter 1, verse 11.
Exodus chapter 1, verse 11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses.
So Pithom and Ramses are located in the Valley of the Kings, where you have what's called temples. What another word for temples are pyramids. That's what they have there. So who built them? Israelites. Okay, we built most of those things in the Valley of the Kings, and those things you find Puerto Rico, as we have now discovered, Central and South America, and parts of Mexico. So it's letting you know, though the fact that it ties back to Egypt lets you know those are Israelites. Everybody understand that? So now watch this. Give me, what do I want now? And you know what, Captain Isaac, you said something when we were discussing with the professor, Rainiel Rodriguez. Isaac said, go ahead, tell him what you said.
Well, basically I said if all of these pyramids and all of these stones were Hebrew writings, Phoenician texts, they're all being found where? Mexico, Venezuela, Peru, Puerto Rico, right? But the so-called Jewish people, you'll never find none of these stones coming up in Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Russia. You'll never find that over there. Why is that? Because they're not the Israelites. That's why.
Exactly. All praises to the Most High. That was a good point. I love that point. Give me Hosea chapter 3.
You know, all these nations, man, that you know, like Psalm 83 said, I mean, there's a conspiracy against the Israelite. Even though when we come out, we showing true histories, we showing truth about our people. There's always like a few bones that throw out here. You understand? You just said these people is no more. But how the hell they was brought up in cargo slave ship to other land, to other countries? But there was no more. You understand? Esau forcing us to do to research the history. You understand? But he will hide the true history, just giving it to his own elite people. But us, he will giving us the water, the how you call it? Yeah, watered down. You understand? So we have to be very mindful.
Okay, read that for me, Captain Isaac. Hosea 3 and 4.
Hosea 3 and verse 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image.
Oh, that reminds me. Read the first part of that again. It just popped into my head.
For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king.
Many days without a king. Now, give me Deuteronomy 28. This is for the stupid, what do they call themselves? Christian apologetics.
The pathetics.
Alt-right Christian apologetics. The alt-right Christian apologetics. That's their name. Give me that. You know what I want? Deuteronomy 28 about, yeah.
Verse 36.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 28:36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
Listen good. These dumb alt-right Christian apologetics tried to use that to go, so who was the kings in Israel during the transatlantic slave trade? Huh? See, we proved them wrong. Then you got all these stupid Edomites going, can. Yes. No. The last king of the nation of Israel, I'm wording it like that specifically and purposely, the last king of the nation of Israel that went into captivity was Zedekiah. Okay? Now, after that, who was the king of the Israelites during the time of Persia and Media? Who was he? Anybody know? There was none. Who was the king of Israel during the time of the Greeks? There was none. Who was the king of Israel during the time of the Roman captivity? There was none. He wasn't set up as the king. Thank you, Jonah. We appreciate you, but. So, Deuteronomy, what I want y'all to see about Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, sometimes it applied during certain captivities, other times it did not. For example, when you read Deuteronomy 28, verse 51, let me hear, about the siege.
Verse 52. Deuteronomy 28:52. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down.
Read.
Wherein thou trustest throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land.
Listen good.
Which the Lord thy God hath given thee.
Read.
And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters.
Stop. That happened twice. I'm going to see who know the history now. When are the 2 points in history that happened? Okay. Right there. Yep.
Shalom, Brother Ariel.
Brother Ariel.
Yes, it happened once during the Romans when Titus came and besieged Israel.
Yep.
And the other time was during the Babylonian captivity.
Very good. Very good. So the 2 times it happens during the Babylonian captivity and the Roman captivity in 70 AD. That didn't happen during the Persian Median captivity, nor the Greeks. So now, now you alt-right Christian apologetics? Now what? Don't try to convince an Edomite. This is not their book. Their job is to try to go against God's word because they hate the one true God. And they hate us as a people. Understand that. Keep that in your minds. Now, give me, where were we reading before? Hosea 3 and 4. Let everything else go, Captain.
Hosea 3 and 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without teraphim.
What is teraphim? Teraphim. Look it up over here. Teraphim. Show them how to spell it. Teraphim. Now I want that top one that you got right there. Small images or cult objects used as domestic deities, or oracles by ancient Semitic peoples. Now, give me the photo. I'm going to show you an example of a teraphim, an object, a small image. This, zoom up close. This was the interview that Captain Isaac, Captain Joshua, myself, and Captain Arparium and Captain Zeph had with Rainier Rodriguez. Zoom in on the object in his hand. Can you? This is what is called a teraphim. Now, if you can't get too close, but it has Hebrew writing on it, and it has a face on the front. Okay, that is what is called teraphim. How many of you saw the movie Gladiator? Remember, he has small objects, those little rock dolls. That would be called teraphim. Like what we got, like what we give our kids today, those little dolls and things, that would have been called a teraphim, meaning little small objects. Sometimes the object represented someone in your family, like this is in honor of my grandmama, she died, such and such. This is in honor of my auntie, she died. And you would have her name scribed on it, written on it. Today, we also have, it's technologies and whatever, you got pictures now. You got let's say I wanted a teraphim of Isaac or Joshua, and we didn't have photographs. I would carve something and say, put Isaac's name on it, or put Joshua's name on it, and that would be a teraphim to remind me of them. Everybody understand that? Go back now to the scripture, Hosea 3 and verse 4.
Hosea 3 verse
4. Oh, so now another thing he said, I don't want to forget this. He said there were 800 findings. 800, correct? And they were taken by, most of them, not all of them, were taken by Britain. Who else he said?
Britain, I think some went to Spain as well. Britain, Spain, and somewhere else he mentioned.
Right, they left him with maybe 10 or something like that. He got about 10. But he said nobody wants to confirm the authenticity of those objects or disallow or say that. He said because if they admit that those are authentic, that means the history of Puerto Rico will change forever. That means they did not walk up to Columbus and say, "Hey, ¿cómo está, amigo?" Like some of you Puerto Ricans think you did today. You didn't speak no damn Spanish. So the rock shows you the language they spoke. He said it was an ancient Semitic language. You know, he said he's not political nor is he religious, okay? He just wants one of these quote unquote what was the word? Reputable. What was it? Epigraphers or whatever that word was he used to approve, to say that it's authentic. We would say they ain't gonna do it. Them white people ain't gonna do it because that means all the people in Israel got to get the F out. That's what it means. Because if the Puerto Ricans are Israelites, that means the people over there in Israel got to go.
I mean, we got a problem.
Exactly. So they're never going to say these are authentic. Now, this is another reason they're not letting nobody in the pyramid net yet. They got the police all around. No, you can't come in here. Think about whatever's on the walls. They said change that, knock that down. Remember what's the little short man's name? Not Joshua, the midget, the shorter guy. I'm getting on Joshua today. I'm sorry. The guy that was shooting everybody, shooting the noses off the pyramids.
Oh, that's Napoleon.
Napoleon. He said, they're black. We got to disprove that. Shoot the nose off. Aim, ready, aim, fire. Boom. Blew the noses off. So that's why Esau says Egyptians were white people. If they had left the noses there, you would be more so to identify that they were black. You know how many Edomites to this day believe the ancient Egyptians were white folks? It's like, are you stupid and retarded? Egypt is where? It's in Africa. That leads me to the next thing. I don't know if I showed you the video. I showed some of y'all the video. I showed you, Zeph. Was that it? Yeah. Huh? Yeah, we saw it in Puerto Rico, right. Remember, you could walk from Israel into Egypt, right? So where is Israel? Israel is in Africa. Esau put the term Middle East so that when you think Israel or Egypt, you think Arabs or white folks. It's a mind game. There was no term as Middle East ever. Esau, to make this the term, they're all going to go with it, teach it in the school system. So now you say, where's Egypt or Israel? Middle East. But when you look on the actual map, it goes Israel, Egypt, then I forgot what's under Egypt. Sudan, it's Libya, it's all connected. Remember, Israel was in a land of who? Canaan. That's Ham. That's Ham. That's come. Why they say come? Spitting all on the mic.
Come.
So these are the things we really got to recalibrate our thinking. Esau has done a job on everybody. They the devil the Bible speaks of. Now, give me the next article about the Taino Indians. Okay, let's go down. Now, Captain Aparim has a book that explains the word Taino is more of an adjective, and it meant something. What was it, the meaning he was showing us? I used to know, I just don't remember the second. Good people.
Buena gente.
Buena gente, okay. And Boricua was a Hebrew word that meant brave, noble lords. He got the book. Okay. Taino, where do I want to get to in this part? Go to when the time came for Columbus. Go down. I don't want to read all of this. When the time came for Columbus. Keep going. Okay, right there. I'm going to start here. Captain Isaac, can you read this for us?
When the time came for Columbus to return to Spain, he did not have nearly enough gold to pay for his expedition. So he had his men round up 1,000 of the very biggest and strongest Taino. They found they could only fit 500 of them in the stinking holes of the ships. So Columbus took those 500 aboard to be sold at the slave market in Seville to raise money to repay the king and queen. And he gave the other 500 Taino to Spanish colonists. Over 250 of the Taino died en route to Spain, and their bodies were tossed overboard.
This is Deuteronomy 28, verse 60. So that's why y'all keep listening to some of these dumb black Hebrew Israelites that say the Puerto Ricans didn't go through the slave trade like we did. Yes, they did. Just shut the hell up. and learn history. Just be quiet. Shh. Don't talk. Don't ever talk again. You don't know anything. Be quiet. Cállate la boca.
Listen, the individualites, that's for you. That is for you. Because they keep denouncing Northern Kingdom all the time. It's too many facts there for you to be this stupid. It's ridiculous. They were put in slave ships and tossed overboard just like the so-called Negroes are tossed overboard. That's why the sharks would follow the ships and change the damn sharks would change their routes to follow the ships to eat the bodies off the ships.
And you don't think that while they was in Spain as slaves that you don't think they multiplied? You know, brothers from the UK went. Tell them what happened.
The brothers went over there to Spain to hand out flyers and so forth.
And what did they discover over there?
They had like museums and so forth and different.
They said there was thousands of Puerto Ricans there and Dominicans in Spain.
So we got to go there, go teach.
So they went there on a fly mission. Guess what? We going again, and we going to set up camp, boots on the ground, and blast them to hell and back. So see, there's so much history that America has a censored history. Take the mic from. Just read it. Deuteronomy 28:68. This is for the naysayers out there. Just want to rub it in your face. So it said they found they could only fit 500 in the stinking holes of the ships. So Columbus took 500 aboard to be sold at the slave market in Seville, Spain. Just read the scripture.
Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
No man. Now,
you know how they teach so-called Puerto Ricans how they're first and foremost Spaniard, no mestizo, then they're native, and then they're black. You heard that story before? Mm-hmm. They go, oh, well, Puerto Ricans make up 3 different nationalities. That's the lie. So this guy, this is a recent article. Go down. Indigenous Puerto Rico DNA evidence upsets established history. Because the established history is that they're first and foremost Spaniard, then native, then Negro, which is a lie. He says history is written by the conquerors. The native peoples of North America know this all too well, as they are still trying to bring the truth to light. Now their long-lost Caribbean cousins are beginning the same process. They're the same people. You know that. It's an uphill battle. Most Puerto Ricans know or think they know their ethnic and racial history, a blending of Taino, Indian, Spanish, and African. That's what they say. Students of the islands past have read the same account over 300 years, for over 300 years, that the native people and their societies were killed off by the Spanish invaders by the 1600s. So they say, see, we killed them off, so you guys are primarily Spaniards. That's what they teach them. It was always noted, though, how many of the original colonists married Taino women or had Taino concubines, producing the original mestizaje, I think, mixture, that when blended with African would produce Puerto Ricans. So that's they would say, see, so you guys are us, you're Spaniard. Then you're native, then you're black. That was the order of operations at first. This guy goes, no, that's a lie. Those first unions, according to the conventional wisdom, meaning lie, explain why some Puerto Ricans have a little bit of native heritage. Mainly we are Spanish, we are told, with a little African blood and far away from Taino ancestry. But the order of that sequence will have to change. Dr. Juan Martinez Cruzado, a geneticist from the University of the Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, who designed an island-wide DNA survey, released the final numbers and analysis of the project in 2003, which is very recent, and these results tell a different story. According to the study funded by the U.S. National Science Foundation, that's their mistake, 61% of all Puerto Ricans have Amerindian DNA. 27, which would be Israel again, from the other side, Ephraim also, and 12% Caucasian. So they're primarily native, not Spaniard, native, Northern Kingdom. So the white thing is garbage. The whole white side is basically trash. It's a lie. It's the Northern Kingdom that was brought from the west coast of Africa, That was Ephraim from the coast of Africa brought over, and the natives are already, Ephraim was already over here. That's what they are. Primarily all Ephraim. No matter how light they are, how dark they are, they're primarily Ephraim. That's what he's saying here. All right?
Exactly. Now, let's see what God says. Give me Hosea 7.
Hosea chapter 7 and verse 8. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned.
So the Lord is saying that Ephraim, read it again.
Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people.
So it's telling you history. Ephraim mixed himself amongst the people. Go ahead.
Ephraim is a cake not turned.
You're going to have Ephraim that's very light and very dark. Go ahead.
Strangers have devoured his strength.
Now that's the white man. Strangers have devoured his strength. Go ahead.
And he knoweth it not.
And he knoweth, Ephraim knoweth it not.
Yea, gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knoweth not.
Because these strangers started to change history. That's why most Puerto Ricans don't even realize they were slaves. They don't know no history. The strangers did that. The white man did that. When we were on a tour on the sugar plantation in Puerto Rico, you had a bunch of, I don't know if they were Puerto Rican. Who were the ones with us? Where were they from? They was Ephraim too? A lot of them didn't know nothing. Dumb as a rock. Okay, silly dove. Okay? So it's telling you that they mixed themselves. Now, the proof that they mixed themselves, give me another scripture precept for that. 1 Ezra 8 and 7. 70, I'm sorry. 8 and 70. And here's a question. Did this mixing of the nations with Ephraim start with the white man, brothers? No, it started with the Assyrian captivity. They were doing that. Okay. Read that. 1 Ezra chapter 8, verse 70.
1 Ezra 8, verse 70. For both they and their sons have married with their daughters, and the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land.
Y'all see that? And the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land. Go ahead. Was that it?
And from the beginning of this matter, the rulers and the great men have been partakers of this iniquity.
So now, yeah.
Something wrong with your mic. You know that the history that you just, they're showing you that these people been mixing from years. That's what God called them Gentile. Because when you lost your culture, what they're going to call you? Gentile. Because you learn the other people way. They cannot call you Israel. We don't know nothing about Israel. That's why these people have to understand. When you're looking at the study of Paul, Paul have to refer to the Israelite as Gentile. Because there was prophecy in Isaiah that was going to call Gentile. There was prophecy in Ezra that was going to call Gentile. So he cannot say Israel, but that was not the time for him to say Israel because everything go by time limit. That's why these dumb Israelites don't understand. And one time, Paul could not say Israel. He have to refer to him as the Gentile. You understand? Yeah.
Exactly. Go back to Deuteronomy 28:68. I got to bring this up for those dumb, stupid, alt-right Christian apologists. Whoever joins them, you're an idiot. Read that.
What verse you want, Bishop?
68.
68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with
These
ships.
dummies say, see, it's talking about real Egypt. This is the alt-right Christian apologist. It's talking about real Egypt. It ain't talking about America. Then they go, ha ha. They so dumb. They think that Egypt is talking about another country. It's talking about real Egypt. Give me Hosea, please. Chapter 7 and 11.
Hosea.
Actually, 9 and 3. I like 9 and 3.
Hosea 9 and verse 3. They shall not dwell in the Lord's land.
Israel would not dwell in the Lord's land. Go ahead.
But Ephraim shall return to Egypt.
But Ephraim shall return to Egypt. Let's see if it's real Egypt. Go ahead.
And they shall eat unclean things in Assyria.
So, you see that? Do y'all see that? That Egypt there is talking about Assyria, because that's when it began with them. So you dumb alt-right Christian apologetics, shh, you need to be quiet too. You don't know nothing, nothing. This is our book. This is the mindset we all got to take. This is our book. You don't tell us about our history. Just be quiet. That's like somebody opening up your photo album, telling you who your aunt is and who your uncle is. Dumb as hell, then you listening to them. No, these are our people. You just be quiet. I want to drop some F-bombs and I can't. Be quiet. This is our book. Shafap. Yeah. Shafap. Thank you. I like that one. Give me the next article with the video. 8 atrocities. Give me that one. 8 atrocities committed against Puerto Rico by the United States. Oh, you know, they're voting tomorrow whether or not to be a state or to remain as they are, a commonwealth. And the same thing is going on with Haiti to decide whether or not America is going to make them a state as well. But guess what? All this is going to be to the benefit of the Most High. Esau doesn't want Puerto Rico or Haiti to be a state because they love them. Oh, on the contrary. They just found some resources there. So you know what? We need this stuff here. Once the Clinton Foundation went to Haiti, they said, hey, look at all this wealth here.
Yeah, let's accept them. Let's adopt them for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Then later on, we just dump them.
You know, in Puerto Rico, they had all kind of student protests, which is not seen on the Caucasian News Network. Students barricaded throughout the colleges. Remember that, Captain Isaac? We were like, this is not on the news in America. All the students, they had pictures of the bankers all on the walls with graffiti, calling them all kind of curse words I can't say. But y'all don't see it on the video. And we were like, yo, this is not on the news nowhere. Going through food strikes and things like that. Crazy, because they raised the tuition of the colleges. So they said, oh, we got to offset the national debt. Listen, you're making the poorest students kicking them out. That's what you're doing. They're closing elementary schools in Puerto Rico, junior high schools, high school, closing them at a phenomenal rate. And none of that is on the news. None of that. So read that. Okay, let's read what it says. Let me see what it says under it. Isaac, come on, help me. Read.
Puerto Rico is an unincorporated territory of the United States located in the Caribbean Sea. It is a small island with a population of almost 4 million citizens. On July 25, 1898, during the Spanish-American War, United States invaded Puerto Rico and commenced a long relationship between the two. With this list, I'll try to underline 8 atrocities committed by the United States in Puerto Rico. La Operación is a documentary that highlights the female sterilization policy. This policy was implanted by the United States as part of FDR's Operation Bootstrap. In a move toward industrialization, by 1974, 35% of the Puerto Rican women were sterile, and this number reached 39% by 1981. The problem with this sterilization policy is that most of the Puerto Rican women were misinformed about the sterilization process, and most of the women didn't know what the consequences would be.
So now, right there, that forced sterilization that nobody wants to talk about. Look up, I put an article on GroupMe some time ago about Campos, where he found a letter. It might be here. Go down. Let me see something. Go down. Let me look. Go down. Go down. Go down. Go down. Go down. Go down. Okay. Go. This is him. This is one of the revolutionaries of Puerto Rico. Go down. Let me see something what it says. Let me read. Stop. Oh, that's it. Number 5. Number 5. Now, this Dr. Cornelius Rhodes, this Edomite, this devil, Albizu Campos had found something written by this guy, and I want y'all to see what was said. Come on, let's read it. Captain Isaac, I want you to read it.
Dr. Cornelius Rhodes was an American doctor and pathologist that became infamous for performing several objectionable experiments with human beings. In 1931, sponsored by the Rockefeller Institute, Rhodes deliberately infected several Puerto Rican citizens with cancer cells.
You see that? Infected several Puerto Rican citizens with cancer cells. That's the... So for you Puerto Ricans that love these Edomites, it's really beyond me. Go ahead.
Supposedly, 13 of the patients died. Dr. Rhodes once said in a written document, the Puerto Ricans, sick, are the dirtiest, laziest, most degenerate and thievish race of men ever to inhabit this sphere.
Now, don't what they said about black people? Same thing. Go ahead.
I have done my best to further the process of extermination by killing off 8 and transplanting cancer into several more. All physicians take delight in the abuse and torture of the unfortunate subjects.
They take delight. Do y'all see that? These Edomites take delight in the abuse and torture of our people. Go ahead.
An investigation done in 2003 by bioethicist Dr. J. Katz found that the accusations were well-founded and documented.
Now, what happened with reparations for them? None. You don't get none. You Puerto Ricans, they don't care. You ain't getting a penny. Nunca. Nada. Nothing. You ain't getting nothing.
You see how the way they wrote this? We see where it says, in the abuse and torture of the unfortunate subjects. These are these people saying it. You notice that it's in quotes because that's how they feel about the natives there. That's how they feel about Ephraim. That's what they're saying. They actually refer to Ephraim as unfortunate subjects that are worthy of torture and abuse. They never even addressed them as the Israelites, never addressed them as people of significance.
Exactly. Give me Hosea chapter 9 before we continue. Hosea chapter 9. Let's start at verse 11.
Hosea chapter 9 and verse 11. As for Ephraim, their glory shall fly away like a bird from the birth and from the womb and from the conception. Though they bring up their children, yet will I bereave them, that there shall not be a man left. Yea, woe also to them when I depart from them.
So this is a prophecy of the Lord saying, I'm going to kill the children that these women bring forth in Puerto Rico. So so for many of our people, I think I might be the white man. No. The Lord said he was going to kill a lot of them kids. A lot. So don't worry. Go ahead.
Ephraim, as I saw Tyrus, is planted in a pleasant place. But Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderer. Give them, O Lord, what wilt thou give? Give them a miscarrying womb and dry breasts.
That's when the Lord was killing off a lot of the kids. Go ahead. And that's why another thing with that forced sterilization as well. Go ahead.
All their wickedness is in Gilgal. For there I hated them, for the wickedness of their doings.
So the Lord hated Ephraim for the wickedness of their doings. Go ahead.
I will drive them out of mine house.
That's when they were forced out of the land of Israel. Go ahead.
I will love them no more. All their princes are revolters. Ephraim is smitten. Their root is dried up. They shall bear no fruit. Yea, though they bring forth, yet will I slay even the beloved fruit of their womb.
So God said, I'm going to kill a lot of their children. A lot of them babies that they had with the Spaniards was put to death. Because there was a lot of rape. When we went to that sugar plant, they said there was a lot of sex going on with them Puerto Rican women, the Tainos that the white man was doing. And the Lord told us a lot of them kids was put to death. They died. So now, don't worry about you being Esau. Get over that. Go back to that thing. And based on the statistics that you just showed, it said, what was the percentage again? You remember?
1% native, 27% native Ephraim from the West Coast, and then 12% Caucasian.
See that? So don't worry. Y'all all right. Go ahead. Where we at? Come on. Go back to this article. Now go back up to number 7, I think. You was at 7? Vieques. All right. I wanted to read about Vieques. Read that, Captain Isaac.
Vieques is an island
municipality
of Puerto Rico located in the northeastern Caribbean. It is also known as La Isla Niena. Vieques has a total area of 134,004 square miles and is inhabited by more than 9,000 Viequenses. From 1941 to May 1st, 2003, the United States Navy used Vieques for naval training and testing. From 1941 to 1942, the U.S. Navy expropriated 22,000 of Vieques, 33,000 acres. By 1963, the Navy owned 22,600 acres of Vieques, almost 70% of the island. In 1948, they commenced bombing exercise, which continued for 55 years. Over the course of their stay, more than 22 million pounds of military and industrial waste was deposited on the island.
And you know what? The Puerto Ricans have no say in this. All those bombings, you know there's nuclear radiation over there. Give me the next number. Yeah. No, you're going back. Let's go.
Yeah, Bishop, they also said the kids that raise up in the environment, they don't grow up like regular kids. There was a special on that.
Okay, radiation experiments, go ahead. Come on. Read this one. This is Pedro Albizu Campos. He was one of the great revolutionaries of Puerto Rico. And you know, I did a test in Puerto Rico. I asked the brothers, name me at least 4 or 5 Puerto Rican revolutionaries. Wait, let me do the test here. How many are here Puerto Rican? Raise your hand. Now ain't no Puerto Ricans in here? Raise your hand. Let me see. Hi. Is only 1 Puerto Rican? 2? Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else?
You know there's more Ephraim in here than that. At the end of the class, brother say, Ephraim,
All right.
and it be all over the place.
Why ain't Abiel's
So where
hand?
they at?
Oh, I asked you in Puerto Rico. Okay, Joseph, stand up. Give us 4. Just give us 4. Okay, 2. Give me 2. Damn. All right, Brother Baruch in the back. You Puerto Rican. Name me 2 revolutionaries from Puerto Rico. Hey, you Dominicans, I see y'all laughing. We'll put it on you, too. You're going to be sitting there going,
But they know about those parades, though.
Yeah, y'all know about the parades. So, now, Captain Isaac, can you put the link? Remember, you sent me a link, and I want all of them to get it. I want them to get it. This is why, now, Isaac, I want you to get, now I got you doing 2 things. Hey, Shem, can you read for Isaac while he's doing that? I know, Captain Zeph, Shem, look at me. Read Deuteronomy 28, verse 64.
Deuteronomy 28, verse
68. Give me
68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again.
Now we're finding out that this has happened to the Latin tribes as well. Go ahead.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Now, you all see that bottom part, and no man shall buy you. See that, Joseph, right? You see that? Baruch, you see that? And no man shall buy you. Joseph, stand up and tell me what that part means. No man shall buy you. Take that mic right there.
No man will redeem you.
Right. No man shall redeem you or save you. So this is why you have to know the various revolutionaries who tried to save and redeem our people. We all know the ones in America. Everybody here know the ones in America. We always go through Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Medgar Evers, SNCC, Black Panthers. But when we in Puerto Rico now, they ain't thinking about Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. Who will you use to explain, and no man shall buy you? No man shall. Now, we knew a few. Pedro Albizu Campos, we went over that. Now, there were more names that there's a list. We're going to put it up for y'all. Okay. So, same with Santo Domingo. You go to these various countries, you should know something. Some type of history, okay? Like the sister that came from the Congo who went to Dallas. Diambi. I sit back and say, you know what? Let me find out some revolutionaries there. I found Patrice Lumumba. And I had already known about him before, but I didn't associate. I thought he was Haitian all his time. Dummy. I found he was from the Congo. Oh, this guy. I remember this guy, reading about this guy years when I was in that Afrocentric stuff. He was one of the first guys over there. Okay, what are we looking at, Isaac? Can you explain it? Can you explain on the mic?
This is a list of the people from Puerto Rico that rose up against Esau. Gives you a whole list, and it starts from all the way from the caciques all the way till now.
Now, what does cacique mean? It means kings.
The kings.
Okay, go down. Let's see the names. So you Puerto Ricans online, there's some key people. Familiarize yourself with these names. You want to go to these different lands, these different countries, we got to know some of these. You ain't got to know them all, but at least know a few. Okay? Everybody understand what I'm saying? Okay? Okay, let's go back to the article now. So that was on, that list was from Wikipedia, and you typed in, what did we type in?
I typed in the revolutionaries of Puerto Rico.
Revolutionaries of Puerto Rico. So you brothers and sisters from Santo Domingo do the same thing. Mexico do the same thing. Okay. Oh, look up, do me a favor, you. Look up Young Lords for me. Young Lords. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now go down. Now this guy right here, right there, famous world journalist, one of the leaders of the Young Lords. I always ask this question. Now, I'm not trying to say nothing, but I just always wondered. Yes. I want all y'all to think about such people like, what's the sister from the Black Panthers? Angela Davis. Geraldo Rivera was their attorney for the Young Lords. How? Now, y'all help me out here. I'm not that smart. How can you be accused of trying to overthrow the government and get such prestigious positions? I just find it strange. These are things that make you go, That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying nothing really. Okay, go back out. Go back out. Thank you, brothers, for help. Thank you. We appreciate y'all. Thank you, Abiel. We appreciate you. You know, Abiel and Officer, I don't know how many of y'all know Officer Amariah. He's Haitian. Very, very light. Very light skin. I mean, Captain Shem light like that. You dark? You darker than him? But anyway, Abiel, put the camera on Abiel. Put the camera on Abiel. Abiel will stand next to Officer Amariah, and the people in Puerto Rico, they'll look at Abiel, walk past him, and go to Amariah, speaking to Amariah in Spanish. And Amariah's like, but I know I don't speak Spanish. And Abiel's like, I'm picking a patty! I'm picking a patty!
So then they have to resort and go to you.
They didn't want to hear it from you, a black mouth. They wanted somebody else, somebody light skin, light, more appealing. You black like this.
Yeah,
you just
that's
black. I tell y'all, people is crazy. Read that for us.
Hosea, chapter 5, verse
11.
Ephraim is oppressed and broken in judgment.
Now, we saw this all throughout Puerto Rico. When it says Ephraim is oppressed and broken in judgment, they don't understand judgment. Our people do not understand judgment. The Bible says Ephraim is broken in judgment. Go ahead.
Because he willingly walked after the commandment.
The commandment he walked after was the commandment of who? Let me see. Who? The white man, yes. Los blancos. El gringos. El diablos. That's the commandment. That's why it says Ephraim is oppressed and broken in judgment because he willingly walked after the commandment. Because remember, the conquistadors and the whites there, and they're still ruling the island of Puerto Rico. They were the ones, their banking system is ruining the island, which goes back to Hosea 7 and 9, where it says, strangers have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not. That means they are broken in judgment, okay? Yea, gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knoweth it not. It's letting you know Puerto Ricans will grow old and still not understand their history, their true culture, the history of what happened to them, they don't know, okay? Many of them think Columbus was their friend. No. And they got statues of Columbus all over the island. That's like putting a statue of Adolf Hitler. Why don't they do that? Hey, that's an idea. You want to put a genocidal maniac statue up, put a statue of Adolf Hitler next to Columbus. Watch the uproar, the so-called, no, you can't do that. Well, Hitler allegedly only killed 6 million. Columbus killed 200 million. So he's worse than Adolf Hitler. But nobody will ever do that. No one will even mention such a thing. No.
Why would they have a problem by putting putting the statue of Hitler beside the statue of Columbus? Why would they, the Edomites, have a problem with that? Why? Whoever got their hand up. And don't grab the mic if you're going to give me something that's far out in space. Give me something. All right.
It's going to destroy the history that they made up with Columbus about how he found America, and it's going to destroy the fact of the brainwash that they have indoctrinated to us.
Right. They're worried about the image of what it's going to put in your mind because they already know that Columbus is worse than Hitler. But we said, but we can't tell them that. And putting them statues together would do that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Give me Genesis 49. Hey, did we finish that article? Because, I'll be rambling. I lose my train of thought. Did we go through that article? Okay, go back to the article. Captain Yashua, can you read that for us? Captain Isaac, I'm sorry. Give me the one with the 8 atrocities. Yeah, I want Pedro Albizu. Write his name down. Pedro Albizu Campos. Now, there's another one let me see. I'm testing now. How many of you know the Puerto Rican revolutionary that just got out of jail? I know you know Captain Isaac. I'm talking about you Puerto Ricans. Yeah, I said Puerto Rican. My mama used to say that. I used to always correct her. She smacked me. It's Puerto Rican, man. I don't give a damn Puerto Ricans. How many of you know who just got out of jail? Somebody. Okay, nobody knows. Dang. It's all over the news. It's even on the Caucasian News Network, CNN. Ain't you Puerto Rican? Oh, today you're not. Can you look it up? Do you know who I'm talking about? You?
Oscar Rivera?
Yes. Did somebody whisper that in your ear, Zeph? A little bird came by. Look him up. Oscar Rivera. He just got out of jail. Yes, that's him. Oscar Lopez Rivera. Hey, look, Oscar Lopez Rivera is no hero. Now, go down. Let me see the story on him before I say something. Let me see right there, Oscar Rivera Lopez. Click the Wikipedia. Yeah. Okay, born 1943 as a Puerto Rican activist. Can you read for me, Captain Isaac?
Oscar Lopez Rivera is a Puerto Rican activist and militant who was one of the leaders of the Fuerzas Armadas de
Liberación
Nacional Puertorriqueña.
Puertorriqueña. FALN. The acronym is FALN.
Yeah,
F-A-L-N.
FALN. A clandestine paramilitary organization responsible for more than 120 bomb attacks on United States targets.
Now, the reason I knew about him was because in the academy, the police academy, they taught us about that group. There was a bag in front of one police plaza with a bomb in it. And an Edomite cop walked over. You know how sometimes you see a bag, you just, what's that? And it went boom and blew the Edomite's leg off. So that's how I knew about it. Other than that, I would have never known. So that's why in the patrol guy, they got something. Like, when you see something, do not kick it. Go ahead, read on.
A fugitive since 1976 and indicted in 1977 and 1979. Lopez Rivera was arrested on May 29, 1981, and tried by the United States government of seditious conspiracy, the use of force to commit robbery, interstate transportation of firearms, and conspiracy to transport explosives with intent to destroy government property. Lopez Rivera maintained that according to international law, he was an anti-colonial combatant and could not be prosecuted by the United States government. On August 11, 1981, Lopez Rivera was convicted and sentenced to 55 years in federal prison. On February 26, 1988, he was sentenced to an additional 15 years in prison for conspiring to escape from the Leavenworth federal prison. The imprisonment of Lopez Rivera was opposed or supported by individuals and groups representing political, religious, and other constituencies. Some called him a terrorist, but others said he was a political prisoner. Several U.S. congressmen supported Lopez Rivera's release from prison.
Now, you may or may not agree with his tactics of the alleged bombings. This is why I prefaced it by showing us the 8 atrocities committed against Puerto Rico. Remember the forced sterilization? Remember the implanting of the cancer into the people? There was a lot of things that this group, they knew about, and they were fighting against the white man. Okay, because there was nobody standing up for them to attempt to do anything. So although, like when we were remember we was asking the students, how far are you willing to go here in Puerto Rico because your schools are closing, your country's being sold out to by the white man. How far are you willing to go? I said, no, I'm not saying that we're going to make bombs. I'm not saying that. I didn't say that at all. Let's put that on tape. I didn't say that. But you need some leaders with some big balls, some cojones, some big mouth. And I do believe the CIA had infiltrated them while we were there. Because when you see the video, y'all see the white people in the back running their damn mouths. But anyway, he was one of the guys who got arrested in court, and he was not a crazy guy. He wanted the liberation of Puerto Rico. So remember that name, Oscar Lopez Rivera. Talk. Captain Aparium, they're sending me, so let me read what he's saying, in case I said something wrong.
Hey, and when is Puerto Rican parade? I think it's on Sunday, right?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, Sunday. So he had supposed to appear at the Puerto Rican parade as a guest, you know, as the forefront for the parade. You had a bunch of donors that was and sponsors pulling out. I was like, listen, we ain't supporting Puerto Rican parade. So there's a bunch of craziness going on in the news and the media over this brother being released from prison. All right?
Exactly. Where we at? You know I lost my place. Where we at? Somebody help me. Somebody help me. Where we at last? Genesis 49. I wanted the article. Go back to the 8 atrocities of Puerto Rico. So, again, we have to know, we don't have to be expert in all history, which is what I'm saying, but we should know. Give me the scripture, don't be ignorant of anything. You know what I'm talking about? Find me that in the Sirach. Be not ignorant. You know what? Who knows where it is? Be not ignorant. Small matter of great, thank you. Where is it? Sirach 5 and verse 15, you said, John? Yeah, 5:15. Read that for us, Captain Isaac.
Sirach 5, verse 15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small.
So the Lord is telling us to know something about everything. Know a little something about everything. You don't got to be an expert in world history, but know a little something about everything. That's what we got. That's why I said when you want to know the revolution, just know a few names. You ain't got to know them all because there's a lot. Just know a few. Yes, go ahead.
In the early Sabbath class, in the morning classes, one of the words that I was using with the relatively new brothers and sisters is the word tangibility in your teaching. Our job is to make the Bible, like we used to say in the old school, our job is to make this Bible real to our people, right, where they can feel the relevance of the scriptures to their lives. That's the tangibility, making the Bible tangent to their reality. Okay, like the book of Nehemiah 8:8 says, to cause the people to understand the sense of to get the sense, to cause them to understand the reading. In order for us to do that, we have to find ways to link our people into the Bible. So you have to know something about the people there. You have to know something about about the culture, about the revolutionaries, about the different things that pertain to them. And when you can go grab those things that they know about and then bring them into the Bible, there's your tangibility there. That's how you bring them into their photo album called the Bible. Y'all follow me? That's the objective of teaching. Remember that.
Exactly. So let's read this, Captain Isaac, about Pedro Albizu Campos.
Dr. Pedro Albizu Campos was a prominent leader in the independence movement of Puerto Rico. Albizu was imprisoned numerous times for seditious conspiracy against the United States. While in prison, Albizu said he was a subject of human experimentation without consent or warning. The U.S. government's response was that Albizu was insane. The president of the Cuban Cancer Association, Dr. Orlando Damoy, traveled to Puerto Rico to examine Albizu. Dr. Damoy reported burns on Albizu's body caused by intense radiation.
So you see that? The U.S. government said Albizu was insane. They said, oh, he's making things up. We didn't do anything. But then upon examination, they found body marks with intense radiation. Go ahead. What, did he do it to himself? Go ahead.
It is said that they placed a metal clip and film on Albizu's skin, and the clip radiated into the film.
Go ahead.
Albizu died in 1965, and more than 75,000 Puerto Ricans carried his remains to the old San Juan Cemetery. In 1994, under the administration of ex-President Bill Clinton, the United States Department of Energy disclosed that human radiation experiments had been conducted without consent on prisoners in Puerto Rico during the 1950s and 1970s.
Where's the reparations? Or did you just get a, I'm sorry. We're sorry. You get a pat on the back, rub on your head, and go along. So this brother wasn't, and all through, you see many statues in schools named after Pedro Albizu Campos, but the spirit that he had of warring against oppression is no longer in Puerto Rico. It's not really there. Right. Say it again. Say it on the mic. Say it on the mic.
The students said that. They said that they were out there. They closed the universities. They, like the bishop said, they had barricades, everything. But they were losing power because there was no one that had the spirit to rise up. No one had the spirit to make a move except for the students. And even the students themselves were losing hope. Right. Because the old people, they weren't around, no one was cheering them on, no one was trying to give that spirit to them.
Right. Exactly. It's a lost generation. That's why you need constant exhortation. Even in this work, being in the work that we have undertaken, brothers and sisters, remember, we're talking about a new kingdom coming. We're talking about the unification of a destroyed people. It's going to make the powers that be angry. Some of us may be in prison. You have to know how far are you willing to go to get this gospel out. Some will be put to death. Don't worry. Don't get scared. Listen, if I get put to death, y'all better keep it going. Or else I'm going to ask the Lord to send me back and haunt you. Boo, nigga. Yeah. What's that noise? What's that noise? Let's go back to the article, the 8 atrocities. We read Cornelius. Ponce Massacre. Let's read that, Captain Isaac.
Ponce Massacre. The Ponce Massacre, which took place on March 21st.
I got to show you. Go ahead, keep talking. I'm going to send you some pictures.
1937 was one of the most violent episodes in the history of the 20th century in Puerto Rico. The activity was announced in El Mundo newspaper on March 19th, indicating that the meeting of the nationalists in Ponce and adjacent areas would be at 2 p.m. in front of the Nationalist Party headquarters in Ponce. That morning, Colonel Orbeta, the chief of police, traveled to Ponce with the intention of prohibiting the nationalist activity. A week before, the nationalists had requested authorization for the march from Mayor Jose Tomas Diego, who was away from Puerto Rico on vacation and had left Dr. William Jelpi as acting mayor. Jelpi authorized Casimiro Berenguer, the military instructor of the Cadetes de la República, to disseminate information to the effect that permission had to be granted by Mayor Tomas Diego. The nationalists had filed the request despite the fact that the laws of Puerto Rico allowed parades or public acts to be held without the need to ask permission.
Right. I want to show this next picture that I think he's a soldier or he's an officer, Joel from Columbus, Ohio, sent me. Soldier. Can you put that up? Of Pedro Albizu Campos. This is, remember they said he's insane. We didn't do anything to his skin. We didn't burn him. Do y'all see this, what they did to the man in prison? Jack the brother up. So this is why you had people like Oscar Rivera Lopez, the fall, going against the United States government. And then people go, oh, he's so evil. They're so, no. I understand the mindset, why they did that. Okay. I remember at work, they were upset, my office. They were mad about, who was it? What's the sister's name who fled to Cuba? Asada Shakur. They would say, yeah, we got to get her. And they were mad about Mumia Jamal. What's his name? Mumia Abu Jamal. Thank you. They were about him about possibly being released. And they were going around, right, we should petition. I said, I ain't petitioning nothing. You say, Esau get red. What do you mean? Aren't you one of us? I said, listen, stop. During this time, I said, if you want to hear me speak, I'll say something. I'll keep it limited, though. I can only say but so much. During this time, during the revolution, white cops were used to butcher, falsely arrest, and do all kind of evil against black and Hispanic people. So I don't agree with you with what you're saying about what they did. I agree with what they were doing because of the evils you were perpetrating against us. Oh, they was mad. I said, let's all go to lunch now and have a good day. Yeah, let's go back to the article. Go back to that article. The number 8 I'm talking about. Is this it? Let's go to the next number. This is too long. Let's go to the next one. The pill. Okay, let's read this. The third atrocity. Let's read that.
The pill. In the early 1950s, the Puerto Rican women were used for experimentation in the making of the first birth control pill.
Damn.
The pill was invented by Dr. Gregory Goodwin Pincus, but strict laws in the U.S. didn't permit full-scale experimentation. In 1955, Dr. Pincus and his colleague, Harvard obstetrician and gynecologist Dr. John Rock, visited Puerto Rico and then decided it was a perfect place to test out their pill due to the lack of anti-birth control laws. The trials began in Rio Piedras, but quickly moved throughout the poor sectors in the island. The experiments was based on poor and working class women. These women were not told the pill was experimental and were not told the negative effects the pill could have on them. 3 young women died during these experiments, and no investigations were conducted to determine cause of death.
That's what I remember the scripture said, but you're physicians of no value. Is that what it says?
Yep.
This is Esau, and they always experiment on our people. Always. They get a new drug, new something, experiment on the blacks and Hispanics. That's what they do.
This is clinical trials, what they call it. And this is Tuskegee over there in Puerto Rico.
Eugenics.
That's what this is.
This goes in conjunction with that guy. I call him the father of gynecology. Captain Isaac, what was his name again?
Sims, Dr. Sims. They have a statue of him in Manhattan.
That guy perfected his craft in gynecology by experimenting on black women. And he would not use anesthesia at all. He thought that they were animals. They can hold on. They can deal with pain. So his study of gynecology was basically perfected through the atrocities and the murder of our own sisters. So now the same thing you're reading about happening to Ephraim. It's the two sides of the same coin. That's the only thing, the difference between us and Ephraim is that the two sides of the same exact coin. That's it. We're the exact same people.
See, sometimes we read through, because I know we are all sitting here and the bishop is going through all of these things here, and you read that first line. Read that first line again, the very first line up here.
In the early 1950s, the Puerto Rican women were used for experimentation in the making of the first birth control pill.
Now, jump down to the part where it says they didn't even know what it was about. Where's that part at? Right, the young women. 3 young women.
3 young women died during these experiments, and no investigations were conducted to determine cause of death.
No, I'm sorry. It was the part before that. The experiment was based on poor and working class women. These women were not told. That's the part I want. I'm sorry. Were not told the pill was experimental. So, now that we have that reality up there, can just formulate in your mind. That's the reason why I talk about let things marinate on your brain. A lot of times you just say things and it'll just go and nobody won't really think about it. Just imagine this act actually going on. They're calling these women in and giving them something and they don't even know what it is. When you think about it, you don't know what kind of effect went on these women. You're just getting what they wrote, but you really don't know how far the effects went. We're just hearing about some, but out of all hundreds of women, you don't know what happened to them. What happened to their children? Some of their children probably was born with this, with that. You don't even know. You don't know how this affected them. You don't know how it affected the people that they were around. You don't know how far these things went. You got to think about how this thing grow from just this and how far it can go.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like is a clinic in New Haven, Connecticut. They always say they will give you $200 to $500 to $2,000, whatever, to do experiment on you. A lot of time you see our people, you think they're bums. These are the experiment that did on them. Then they left the house. They start living in the street, but they're not bums. Yeah, then they start talking about themselves when those are experiment. White people were doing them for $500 to $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Then they messed them up.
That's heavy. Go to the next one, Isaac. It's right there. Article. Read that. Number 2.
Colonization. The effect of the colonization is very evident on the Puerto Rican people. La Ley de Mordaza was implanted by Governor Jesus T. Pinheiro on May 21st, 1948, which did not permit any Puerto Rican to show any patriotism or even display the Puerto Rican flag. Puerto Ricans were given citizenship in 1917 with the Jones Act. Puerto Ricans were considered alien in the United States, but once the Jones Act took effect, more than 20,000 Puerto Ricans were drafted by the Army.
So you couldn't be a citizen, but you could fight for America.
With the United States came huge changes in the educational system, making American values and principles the main teachings in schools and even forcing teachers to teach English. It wasn't until 1998 that Puerto Ricans changed back to Spanish as their main language in schools. The United States implanted an economy that depended on them. This destroyed the agriculture in Puerto Rico.
Stop. The United States implanted an economy that depended on them. This destroyed the agriculture in Puerto Rico. You know how heavy that is? Remember some time ago I was telling y'all about Ghana. What's his name, the president? What's his name, the first one? Kwame Nkrumah. And how foreign aid, listen good, foreign aid, America gives foreign aid worldwide. It forces you to be dependent on the United States of America. That way you all, it's like remember the scriptures used, it said we shall be nourished from what? From the face of the serpent. America, and remember about all nations, it said, and the kings of the earth drink the wine of the wrath of her fornication. All nations want this American currency. They want help with the economy, and America gives it. Whoever pays the piper calls the tune. Y'all know what that expression means, right? I give you the money, I'm calling the shots. So all nations have drunk of that wine. Everybody says, oh, I want this, I want that. This is what this is saying. The United States implanted an economy that depended on them. This destroyed the agriculture in Puerto Rico.
In that documentary called The End of Poverty, this part, what the bishop just said, is in there. They refer to these people that come in and sit with the prime ministers and sit with the leaders of those lands. They call them jackals. And so they offer it to you in a nice way because there might be a recorder recording somewhere. So they say it in a nice way. And if you don't buy our carpet, if you don't accept our carpet of gold, we will bury you under a carpet of bombs. We'll send you in. We'll send in the military to get to further our objectives that way.
Right, and in the film, the documentary, the guy
Right.
said they wouldn't say it in
Right,
those words,
exactly.
but you knew what
You knew what they meant.
That if you didn't accept it. Read on, Captain Isaac.
The United States implanted an economy that depended on them. This destroyed the agriculture in Puerto Rico. In less than 20 years, 90 cents of each dollar that a Puerto Rican spent went to the United States.
Y'all see that? Do you see that? 90 cents
90 cents of a dollar
went to America.
You got a dime. That was it. And then you probably had to pay taxes on that.
And when you ask yourself why, that's because, let's say, America gave Puerto Rico, let's say, $8 billion for their help in the economy. You got to pay that back. If they don't give you the money they don't give you that wine for free. I'm saying it like that for a reason. Now you got to pay back. So now comes 90 cents out of each dollar. Now you left with a dime. That's some heavy. This is how everything got destroyed over there. And it's not just Puerto Rico. Understand, they was doing this all through Africa. They're still doing it. Go ahead. Read on.
This made Puerto Rico one of the poorest countries in America. The Puerto Ricans still do not have a defined status. Puerto Rico has one of the worst economies in America and an unemployment rate of more than 16%. Puerto Ricans don't have the same rights for their Social Security or even veterans benefits, even though they meet the same requirements than the people that live in the states.
Exactly. See, they didn't speak Spanish until 1998. That's when it became, they went back to the language. Like we read Captain Joshua said, that's why Puerto Rican Spanish is so messed up. Good.
This picture was on one of the billboards in Puerto Rico. It says, Hazlo Puerto Rico. It's to vote to make Puerto Rico again. It says the plebiscito para la descolonización inmediata de Puerto Rico, which means the decolonization of Puerto Rico. But this ain't gonna work. They're gonna make it into a state, and they're gonna take all the land again.
Well, alrighty then. So let's read the next one. Number 1, Puerto Rico's status.
Puerto Rico's status. Puerto Rico has been a U.S. territory for more than 100 years and has been defined as a commonwealth since 1952. Puerto Ricans cannot vote for the U.S. president or Congress, but they have to obey federal laws. A resident commissioner represents Puerto Ricans in Congress, but he cannot vote on legislation. This affects Puerto Ricans every day. An example of this is the cabotage laws implanted in 1920 by the Jones Act. This law says that Puerto Ricans must use the U.S. Merchant Marine for the oceanic transportation of any goods bought by Puerto Rico. This is a problem because Puerto Rico, being an island, does not produce everything it consumes and is obliged in the use of the U.S. Merchant Marine. The U.S. Merchant Marine is one of the most expensive merchant marines in the world. It is estimated that if Puerto Ricans were not forced to use the U.S. Merchant Marine, prices in all imported products would drop 40%, and would save Puerto Ricans $150 million in product export.
Y'all see that? That's some heavy stuff. Read the next part.
This would lower the prices of the exported products and make Puerto Rico a more competitive country in the world market.
You know, they said Puerto Rico's national debt to America is $72 billion. How are they going to pay? And this just said if they stop using the U.S. Merchant Marine, it would drop, what did it say? It would save Puerto Ricans $150 million in product export. America said, no. Everything that America puts on Puerto Rico puts a higher debt, more debt. That's what they do throughout other third world countries, keeping them in that dependency state. That's some evil right here. So now, we're almost done. What time is it? Let me look at it. I don't want to keep it out too long. Okay. Give me Isaiah 11. We finished with Puerto Rico. Actually, give me Genesis 49. We didn't read that, Captain Isaac. Not you. Captain Isaac. We didn't read Genesis 49.
What verse you want, Bishop?
Verse 22.
Verse 22.
Actually, start at verse 1, 2, and then jump to verse 22.
Genesis 49 and verse 1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days.
The last 4 words is what you want to stress when you're teaching on the street. In the last days. In the last days. Because you'll get these dumb Christian apologists that go, no. It has no relevance for today. And let me tell you something. Christianity has made the Bible into mythology. Christianity has turned the Bible into mythology. Y'all going to laugh. You're going to laugh. But I was watching Wonder Woman. I saw Wonder Woman. And in it, they said Zeus created mankind. And his son Ares got angry and jealous and caused a rebellion to fight against Zeus. Have y'all heard that before? That's the Christian doctrine of Lucifer caused a rebellion in heaven to fight against the It's the same BS, the same Christian lies. Okay? And we'll go over that another day. But read on.
Gather yourselves together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Verse 22. Joseph is a fruitful bow.
Remember, Joseph had 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. Go ahead.
Even a fruitful bow by a well.
Meaning they would live around water, be an island. Go ahead.
Whose branches run over the wall.
In Puerto Rico, they have something called El Moro, which is a huge It's bigger than the castles in Ghana that we saw. This one was at least 3 times the size. Huge. And in it, you got a Christian section where they forced the Indians to become Christian, and they burned the names of the slave on the backs of the men and on the breasts of the women. That's what they did. And they Christianed them and gave them these little funny names y'all got, like Ramirez, Fernandez, Camos, all these other names, Comas, whatever the hell you say. All these names, they branded on you. Read on.
The archers have sorely The archers have sorely grieved him.
The archers make a reference to the conquistadors. Go ahead.
And shot at him and hated him.
And what?
And hated him.
See, that's the proof. Many times you'll see these romanticized movies with Columbus. And they say, oh, he loved it. He did not love them. The Bible says, and did I misunderstand that word? Does the word hated right there? Is that there? It says, and hated him. So God is telling us historically they hate us. Go ahead.
But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob.
Hey, who was the Puerto Rican king that wanted to see if the white man was a god? What was his name?
That was a cacique. That was a cacique. I think that was the first cacique.
Oh, the first one that we started with an A.
The first one on that list. How you pronounce it?
Aguabana. He told the Taínos, he said, grab him, that white man. Because remember, he saw that armor and all that. He said, grab him and hold him underwater.
They drowned him for 3 days. And he made the Taínos watch them for 3 days. And he said, if he resurrects after 3 days, then they're God. But he didn't. So once he realized that the white man wasn't a God, was immortal, he told the Taínos to revolt. And it was a Taíno revolt.
Exactly. Y'all got, that's some heavy stuff. I got a good laugh on that.
Right. And Noah says that he hated them. It goes back to them being unfortunate subjects. To that article earlier. Them being unfortunate, being lazy. Right. That goes back to them hating him. It's the same exact spirit. And the same exact people.
Look at that. Do y'all see a cross that they're putting him up on? That is a cross that they're hanging him up on. And that was a drawing that they did. Okay. Read on, Captain Isaac. What verse you at?
Verse 25.
Go ahead.
Even by the God of thy father who shall help thee, and by the Almighty who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above.
That means good weather. Go ahead.
Blessings of the deep that lieth under.
That's the fish and the wealth that was under the water. Go ahead.
Blessings of the breast and of the womb.
That means Ephraim had it. That's what Ephraim means. I am fruitful. They have a lot of children. Go ahead.
The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills.
Right. So Jacob was saying the blessings that came upon your father Joseph was greater than the blessings that my father Isaac got. Go ahead.
They shall be on the head of Joseph and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren.
Remember, Joseph was separate from his brethren. So now, give me, we're almost done. Give me Isaiah 11 and 12 and 13. Isaiah 11, verse 12 and 13.
Isaiah chapter 11, verse 12. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel.
Are you reading Isaiah 11 and 12?
Yes, sir.
Because I'm not found, but I want 11 verse 12. Go ahead, read it again. I guess, read 12.
Yeah, that's verse 12.
Oh, that's 12. Okay, go ahead. I'm not following.
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel.
So the nations what, brothers, raise your hand. What is the ensign? Yes, right there. Brother with glasses, and stand up. What is the ensign?
Shalom, leadership, Brother Jedediah.
Jedediah?
Yes. The ensign is the Bible.
Very good. Now, wait, stay right there. Read it again, Captain Isaac.
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcast of Israel.
So the nations, give me another word for nations. Starts with a G.
Oh, Gentiles.
Very good. Okay, all right. Read on. Wait, stay right there. Read on, Captain Isaac.
And shall assemble the outcast of Israel.
So these nations that we're going to hold a standard, the ensign up to, are the outcasts of Israel, correct?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
So number one, we're going to gather together the dispersed of Judah. See, thank you. Have a seat. It's getting a little long there. But I'm going to come back to you, Jedediah. I'm coming back to you. But I want y'all to see. Read that part again, Captain Isaac.
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
Read.
The envy also.
Stop. No, that's what I don't want that part yet. What I want y'all to see is that our job, our mission, is to gather the outcasts of Israel, which are scattered throughout the earth. Okay? That is what the world calls the diaspora, that nobody no longer wants to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about the forced migration, the colonialization of our people, the sub-Saharan slave trade, nobody talks about it. But that is what this Bible is talking about. I want everybody to understand that. And it's on this side of the world and the other. Real quick, Captain Isaac, I forgot this one. Give me Hosea chapter 11. I should have read this earlier. Hosea chapter 11 just popped in my head.
Hosea 11 verse 10. They shall walk after the Lord. He shall roar like a lion. When he shall roar, then the children shall tremble from the west.
That's this side of the earth. We're in the Western Hemisphere. Okay? That precepts, write this down, that precepts with what we had read earlier in Deuteronomy. Go back to the Isaac, Captain Isaac. Deuteronomy is the 33:17. This is the precept. Somebody help Captain Isaac.
Deuteronomy 33:17.
Go ahead.
His glory is like the firstling of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of a unicorns. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth.
Now go back to Hosea 11 and 10 again. Let everything else go.
Hosea 11 verse 10. They shall walk after the Lord. He shall roar like a lion. When he shall roar, then the children shall tremble from the west.
How did they get to the west? Because Ephraim and Manasseh pushed them to the other sides of the earth. That's what it's talking about. So use those two precepts together. So because remember, we were in the east. How did they get to the west? Ephraim and Manasseh brought them here. So now that doesn't mean all Israel is on this side, because if we know, according to Isaiah 11:11, they're on the eastern side as well. Now go back to Isaiah 11, and you were in verse 13. I'm going to hit y'all with something. Watch this.
Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart.
The word envy means hatred. The hatred of Ephraim shall depart. Now, while brothers were teaching, we were getting a lot of messages on, what is that called? Facebook Live. People were saying, well, but why do the Puerto Ricans hate black people so much? All that was instilled in a lot of the Latin American tribes. Understand what I'm saying? Like in Santo Domingo, they put up that picture of Satan being a black man with woolly hair and the angels being white with pelo amarillo, pelo blanco, bonitas. So from a youth, you grow up with that hatred against anyone or anything that's dark. And half of them be dark as hell, and they hate themselves. And they'll say they white. We're right. They'll say they white. They grow up with that mindset. Okay? Read it again.
Isaiah 11 and verse 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim.
How does Judah vex Ephraim? How does Judah vex Ephraim? Over here. You see it on YouTube all the time. I just give you a hint, but
we vex Ephraim by calling we make fun of them, be like, oh, they think they white. Even in the scriptures, when it goes into us calling them the Gentiles.
Right. That's the one we wanted. Because look on YouTube, how many of them say, oh, those Puerto Ricans aren't Israelites, Mexicans aren't Israelites, none of the Latins are Israelites. Shh. Be quiet. Be quiet. So that's what it means when it says Judah shall not vex Ephraim. And that's the same thing that was happening in the New Testament. Give me that precept in the New Testament, John 7:35. It's the same argument. Because remember, the northern kingdom went off into idolatry, and the kingdom of Judah, the southern kingdom, was saying they're no longer Israelites. That's what's happening here. Read that.
John chapter 7, verse 35.
Go ahead.
Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed?
The word dispersed is the same word as diaspora. Is the same word as scattered. All have the same meaning. Go ahead.
Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles?
Among the Gentiles.
And teach the Gentiles?
See that they were calling the dispersed Israelites Gentiles. It's the same thing today. That's why many of the southern kingdom say those Latin tribes, they're not Israelites. Especially if they're light-skinned. Okay, and I told you back in the day, I remember Mashai used to tell us that that there was a paper bag quota in Israel. You couldn't get in Israel before that. You had to be dark. You had to look like me and Lava.
No, Bishop. They have to look like you.
Go back.
Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim.
So all the internal bickering of Israel is going to stop. Our job, brothers, is to gather them. Put the map back up, brothers. Canada, come on. Put the map back up. I want Central South America. Let's put it back on the screen again. Remember, the diaspora was vast. We were scattered North, Central, South America, and all these places, including the islands, those small islands like St. Lucia, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Bahamas, Cuba, Jamaica. Let me see one of the little islands there. St. Vincent, St. Croix, thank you. Barbados, thank you. So then you got in between, thank you, brothers. I appreciate you now. Now I can see. You got Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Panama, San Jose. All these places, the French Guiana. All these places, look where our people were scattered. And not just there. Go to the other map now. Bermuda, not just there. So the work is large. That's why it says that Israel numbers the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. Come on. Next map. We understand that we are the only group, brothers and sisters, who's even concerned about the diaspora, as the scriptures teach us. To the 12 tribes of Israel scattered abroad, greeting. Can we get the next picture, please? Look at this. As we have proven in past lessons, our people scattered in Mauritania, okay, Morocco, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Algeria, all these places, I don't know how to pronounce Eritrea, okay, Mali, Nigeria, Cameroon, the Congo. Our people are still there, okay? And listen, it's not our job to make them believe they're Israel. It's our job only to teach, and whoever comes. Give me a scripture in John 10 where Christ said, my sheep. Our job is not to force them to believe nothing. Our job is simply, Christ said, what did he say? Matthew 24:14, and when this gospel shall be preached throughout the world, then shall the end come. And the world he's talking about is the world of Israel. Wherever the diaspora is, we are going. We have to go. So you brothers and sisters online who speak other languages, translate the flyers, translate the literature, mail it to your friends and neighbors in all these locations. The seed must be planted.
Right. Ella, can I say one thing? Because in some of these countries, guess what? There's no internet access. You understand? In some of these countries, there's no internet access. There's no how to say it? Is laws set up where you can't view certain things on YouTube. You understand? So that's why you need brothers on the ground, boots on the ground, handing out flyers and talking to the people. You understand? That goes a long way. You know, a lot of times we got called from people from other countries like saying that, oh, somebody gave them a flyer or so forth. That's how they hear about us. You know, and they following us from then. You know, so it make a big difference when you brothers and you sisters go there and hand flyers. Not just brothers, you sisters too. Ain't nothing in going out there and handing out flyers. You see somebody, you meet somebody, hand them a flyer. You know, that's you putting in the work too.
Exactly. And these flyers need to be translated. So you brothers and sisters online who are listening, who are watching, translate the flyers in your language, okay? Because I know in some of these countries where the Arabs are, you can't even bring a Bible into some countries, or else you get imprisoned, okay? So the word must go there. The word must go there. We ain't stressing. But read that for me, Captain Isaac, in John 10. Because the thought is, listen how dumb in America, listen to Israelites. You got two stupid Israelite groups. Listen, one Israelite group says, don't teach the Puerto Ricans and the Latin Americans, they're white people. Then the next stupid group says, don't teach them in Africa, they're Hamites. Notice the stupidity. Meanwhile, James 1:1 teaches us to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Isaiah 11 says, I will gather again a second time. The remnant of my people were scattered in the names of these places. These two dumb BH, that's why I call them BHI, Black Hebrew Israelites, they don't know the Bible. Read that, Captain Isaac.
John 10, verse 27. My sheep hear my voice.
That's why we ain't got to stress who's Israel. Christ said what? Read it again.
My sheep hear my voice.
Uh-huh.
And I know them, and they follow me.
Y'all hear that? So our job, brothers and sisters, is just to teach. We cannot look into your DNA like you can't look into our DNA and figure out who's Israel. You can't do that. Our job is to teach. Christ said, my sheep hear my voice. Strangers they will not follow. So when they hear the truth, just let them come. Let them watch online, because we can only hold but so many people. Let them watch, let them learn, Because Christ said, give me that Matthew 13, you know what I want? About the wheat and the tares. But brother, what if somebody is of another nation and come up? That's not our job to bug out on that. If we see him in the midst of sin, we believe us, we're going to throw him out. But let's say this, we don't know, we can't tell. Watch this. You know what I want, Captain Isaac? I think it's Matthew 13 about the wheat and the tares. Come on, man.
Verse 24. 25.
Where it says, let both grow.
But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also.
Uh-huh.
So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy
Didn't you plant good seed, meaning Israelites? Go ahead.
From whence then hath it tares?
So from whence then have these tares? These others are not Israel. Go ahead.
He said unto them, An enemy hath done this.
Uh-huh.
The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up?
You see that part right there? Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? You want us to use our eyes and pick who's Israel and who's not? That's what these camps are doing. Watch what the answer is.
But he said, Nay.
He said, no. Don't go based on your own eyes, your judgment. Go ahead.
Lest while ye gather up the tares,
lest while you kicking out the ones you think is not Israel,
ye root up also the wheat with them.
You root up the real Israelites. You make a mistake. Everybody see that? He said you will right. Go ahead.
Let both grow together.
Let both grow together
until the harvest.
Until the harvest.
And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers.
The reapers are the angels. Go ahead.
Gather you together first the tares.
Gather together the tares, those that are not Israel. Go ahead.
And bind them in bundles to burn them.
Let them be roasted in a nuclear fire. Go ahead.
But gather the wheat into my barn.
But my people, the Israelites, gather them together in my barns, which is the chariots. The angels are going to. The angels are going to do that. So understand that. Okay, understand that. So, Zephaniah 3:10, please. Zephaniah 3:10. And give me Babylon and Timbuktu. What time is it? I know I'm keeping you on a little bit. This is for the dummies that say there's no Israelites in Africa. I want the one about the rivers. Read, Isaac.
Zephaniah 3:10. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed shall bring mine offering. In that day shalt thou not be ashamed.
How are you going to read that and then say there's no Israelites in Africa? You have got to be dumb as a rock. Read it again, please.
From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia.
From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. They have several main rivers in Ethiopia that go from the east towards the west. Go ahead.
My suppliants.
My suppliants.
Even the daughter of my dispersed.
The word dispersed is the diaspora. Am I saying that word right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Shall bring mine offering. In that day shalt thou not be ashamed for all thy doings, wherein thou hast transgressed against me. For then I will take away out of the midst of thee them that rejoice in thy pride. And thou shalt no more be haughty because of my holy mountain.
Right. Now watch this. Let's go to Babylon and Timbuktu. Read the first paragraph. Listen good, brothers, sisters. Listen good. Now this is written by Rudolph R. Windsor. Read this.
By the time Windsor, Timbuktu, 79. By the time of the prophet Zephaniah, about 630 BC, Ethiopia and the adjacent lands of Uganda and Kenya were swarming with black Jews.
Now remember, Laba, we met the sister from Kenya while we was in Ghana. Remember, she worked for the white woman.
Yes, yes.
Zephaniah 3:10. Beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughter of my
Here, use my mic.
shall bring mine offering. This verse is an indication that the Israelites would be multiplying and making converts among the inhabitants beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. No doubt this prophet had communication with the Jews in this remote area. The rivers of Ethiopia connect with the Nile water system in the heart of Ethiopia. The Atbara River extends from the highlands of modern Ethiopia to the Nile. The Blue Nile extends from the direction of Addis Ababa in the northwestern direction toward the Nile. Near Uganda, in the northern Congo, is the Bahr el Ghazal River. It is 500 miles long. In the southwest Sudan, formed by the confluence of the Bahr el Arab and Jur rivers in northwest Upper Nile. It flows east to unite at Lake No with the Bahr el Jebel and to form the White Nile. These areas are beyond the rivers of Ethiopia.
Now that's it right there. This is some deep and heavy research where he explained Zephaniah 10 about the rivers. Because remember, a few weeks ago, I asked the brothers to pull up the rivers, and we were having trouble trying to find these rivers. Page 79, right. Notice where it says there, the second paragraph. The rivers of Ethiopia connect with the Nile water system in the heart of Ethiopia. The Atbara River extends from the highlands of modern Ethiopia to the Nile. The Blue Nile extends from the direction of Addis Ababa in a northwestern direction toward the Nile. Near Uganda and the northern Congo is the Bahr el Ghazal River. It is 500 miles long. So God in the Bible, he's telling us the Israelites are there. That's what he's saying. So for you here in America to say, there's no more Israelites, so leave those dumb Israelite camps alone. They don't know anything. And you're busy listening to them. They don't know nothing.
Bishop, you remember Deacon Yawasab said, because their brother cannot witch
the grapes.
He cannot witch outside the bridge. He could not think about to put a bridge there. So he said, the hell with, since IUIC, the hell with that, I'm going to deny Israel is there. That's what that is. Sin. It's sin, brother. That's because we there, they're denying Israel is there. That's all it is. These brothers see that, bro.
Exactly. And our worry should not be what if they're Hamites or what if Northern Kingdom or Edom. That's not our concern. Christ said, my sheep hear my voice. He also said, let them grow together. My sheep, if they come in, just let them come. And we are to teach them as they are Israelites. But of course, if there's sin, we're going to judge them. Understand that. That's the importance of rank and order, brothers. See, we're looking at it like this little school here. The diaspora is vast. We don't know what's to come from today to tomorrow. As the Most High can open up doors overnight in certain countries, certain states, certain locations. We must be ready. Understand? Y'all men understand that? So an officer of 50, your job is to lead and teach 50 men. Officer 10, you take these 10 people right here and you teach them. So forth and so on. The job is vast. But if you think of this just as some, you don't believe the Bible. This is just some Pentecostal Baptist thing. The Bible will never be real to you. And you're wasting your time here. Okay? Because this job is real. I see it. I don't know about you, brothers. You captains understand what I'm saying? This profession is real. Okay, we have to gather our people who've been colonialized, subject to, and remember, when they colonialized us, they put us into, we were subject to the sub-Saharan slave trade, transatlantic slave trade. They did a job on us, changed our identities, our language, our culture, our heritage. So we're all divided in these various groups. Y'all know what I'm saying?
Yeah, please.
Like our people in Mauritania who think that they're Islamic. They speak a total different language from us, Arabic, some form of Arabic. We can't communicate with them unless there's some here that speak English and or Spanish, and they can, I know what they're saying. I'm going to translate this. Our people in Brazil who speak Portuguese. Anybody here speak Portuguese? 2 brothers. Well, all praises to the Most High. See, Captain Zeph was talking about going to Brazil, but I said he ain't ready yet. You all know what's going on in Brazil. You be looking around, and the Lord said, wow. Brother, get back in the spirit. That's a man. And with that, we say shalom.
Yeah, Bishop. When you
I'm
was
just teasing you.
when you was in Puerto Rico, you noticed that. Yeah, you make a statement. You said these brothers that was in the college had they shot down the college, the school system. You know, they're all looking for leaders. You understand? They're looking for men to stand up for them, but they're looking around. They don't see no leaders. We are always looking for leaders in Israel. You understand? That's what Bishop said. Israel is gathered through all these corners. When one of you are going to stand up and be the leaders? That's why you're here for. That's not a hangout. That's not a place you just, you know what I mean, just come and hang out here. Y'all come up in here to make you to be leaders. You understand? Leaders to gather the 12 tribes. That's why you're in here. So we cannot allow you to be in, you know, the favorite word out here. Bullshit.
Hey, for instance, right, like what you saw when you went in Puerto Rico, you all saw that the government shutting down all the schools over there, right? So imagine if we get leaders right up. If Yasha rise up, because he's somewhere around. He probably running around doing something. He probably might be in Puerto Rico parade jumping up. He ain't wake up as yet. Or we probably here already. You understand? But my point is that imagine we got leaders rise up and go over there and start pushing the Most High word. You understand? Letting these people know, listen, you only need the white man to set up schools for you. We could set it up ourselves. We could set up universities, college, and so forth. So imagine if a leader rise up and try to do that over there. You understand? And that's what the leader's going to rise up and start doing. You know, so you brothers that's from the Northern Kingdom, you all don't take your calling lightly. You understand? Don't be on the street teaching Judah all the time. Listen. You know a lot of Northern Kingdom brothers, they want to teach Judah. They want to break down Deuteronomy 28 and 68. You see, brother, you came over here on cargo slave ship. You know, but what about the cargo we went over it today? Where it show you that, listen, the Puerto Ricans, they went into slavery on ships. Guess what? If you research it, you're going to see the Dominicans. You're going to see all the tribes in them. All the Northern Kingdom tribes, you're going to see where when they came and conquered them, they took them in ships and so forth. You just got to research it. You understand? So you brothers, you all got to rise up. You leaders, you Northern Kingdom brothers, you all got to rise up, man. We ain't going to always be protecting you all. You understand? Aitan ain't going to jump to your defense all the time.
All praises. So,
Officer Yakin posted this a couple of days ago on the group me. I sent it to the chat. All right, because we all know about the Jim Crow laws that the so-called blacks endured over here. Guess what? The Northern Kingdom, they had the same thing. They went through the same thing. This is it right here. Okay? And look, mockery. They called it Juan Crow. All right? It's a type of law or policy related to enforcement of immigration statutes against Latinos in the United States. The term is patterned after Jim Crow laws that enforced racial segregation and kept blacks as an underclass. So this was instituted to keep the Latinos, brothers and sisters, as an underclass. All right, and it was mainly implemented in Arizona, Alabama, Georgia, and so forth. All right, so this is more proof that the Northern Kingdom of Israel, y'all went through the curses too. Jeremiah 50 and 33. All right, so this is more proof for y'all when y'all on these streets. Right?
And you know what's good about this history, Captain, as like you brought out? We got the days of biblical mythology is over with the Israelites. This is why people hate the Israelites. We make the Bible real. That's the problem. They want the Bible to stay a myth. No. It talks about oppression in here. And we're going to just go through history and explain what they did to us. Because this is our book and our record. It makes the nations angry. So we have to know our history, okay? And that's why, brothers, some of y'all want to travel with us over to Africa. We got to know a little bit of that history. That's why I put up the movie about Lumumba. Look at it. With the sister, she says she's going to try her best and open up some doors for us. We're going to leave you light ones back, Dick, or we don't want them to eat your fingers. No, I'm joking. I'm just messing with y'all. I'm joking. But we got it boots on the ground over there. I remember one place in Nigeria, I was speaking with Officer Ashan. He said, Nigeria is in such a turmoil, especially during the northern part. He said, if we go, it must be less than 24 hours. He said, we'll be in a bed sleep, door get kicked open, black bag put on your head, and you gone. He said it'd be like that.
Once they get word that we're over there, that's it.
Exactly.
They're going to swoon in.
Exactly. Remember, what we're teaching is going worldwide. Don't think it stays here in this little room. No. People know about the Israelites. And we blasting Islam. You got a lot of these little crazy Arabs. I remember this Arab was saying, he said, if you was in my country, I'd kill you. But we ain't in your country. Now it might come a day when he goes, I remember you. You are in my country now.
So we going.
All praise to the Most High. So.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel, Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.